Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to episode 7 of All About Millennials, man. I'm your host, Donaze and Kaehla, and with me, as always, is my goofball, but yet very cool co-host, Kayla Maurer. What is up, girl?
What's up? Happy Wednesday. Or, it's not even Wednesday. Happy Friday.
I was about to say, somebody had a nice enough Mother's Day to where it's still
I'm lost. I noticed something in the background for all of you that are not watching on YouTube.
Wait, what?
Listening.
What is this?
The background of Donaz's screen is our new logo.
What is this?
Oh my.
Wow. Yeah, so new branding, new upgrading, and just evolving.
Always
and
evolving.
I think, yeah, and that was just one of the many perks and one of the many things that we've got going on, and I'm just loving it. What about you? How's your Mother's Day weekend?
It was great. Since my mom is not here, my sister FaceTimed me in, so I felt like I was hanging out with the family. It was awesome.
Not here as in not New York, or not here as in RIP?
Not here as in New York. Because,
okay.
Yeah. Not here physically because I'm by myself. So.
Okay. Yeah, I think a lot of people, and I've had discussions over it, they do lose their moms, have lost them, and Mother's Day and Father's Day are pretty tough for them.
Yeah,
and
I'm very fortunate.
So am I. And speaking of that, last week I've already gotten the feedback to where people are asking me, where can I get the podcast? Who can I show it to? My church is hitting me up, can we just send this out to mothers that are dealing with the same things that I grew up with?
Yeah.
So I was grateful for that.
If anyone didn't listen last week, we had a great Mother's Day episode. Donaz's mom came on, and it was so enlightening to get to talk to her. So definitely check out episode 6, and let's get into episode 7.
Oh, heck yeah, let's do it.
All right. So today's topic is multitasking and attention spans, specifically when it comes to us watching and doing things on social media. So let's get on into it.
I know, right? Because I feel like our biggest asset and our biggest downfall really is how long we can stay invested into it. A lot of social media went from 6 seconds to now you can kind of squeeze in a minute, but you have maybe 30 seconds to draw and keep people in without a swipe.
Yeah. We live in the age of swiping. Everything is swiping. Swiper, no swiping. Stay on the video.
Quiet, because I am not about to hear the end of it from Nickelodeon that you did that.
But seriously.
Exactly.
But yeah, I don't have an attention span. I just recorded a Facebook Live, and I didn't have enough attention span for myself to do the one thing that I was doing during the video. I mean, not that there was a point to the video, I just was bored and I wanted to talk to people, but I was really trying to do my makeup, and I just couldn't even stay on track for myself. And I feel like it's we watch social media's trends, and even with TV now, it's just getting shorter and shorter. And I feel like that's kind of indicative of who we are as people.
Yeah, I completely agree. And It's more so like, when is something going to be out of trending? I don't really care. When it's out of sight, out of mind, what's next, you know?
Right. Yeah. And it's like you have to do these elaborate things, or people think they have to do these elaborate things to grasp people's attention. Actually, I've been kind of going back into the YouTube realm with uh like I love watching hot takes, which is like the celebrities go on and they eat hot wings while they are interviewed. And then
You mean hot ones,
or
not
hot
hot takes?
whatever it's called. I don't even know. Um obviously I pay attention. Uh but I've been watching more vloggers too because I'm just like, well, what else is there to do at this point? And see, what's my point here? Anyway, oh, I've been watching these vloggers, but they're on all these different platforms, not just YouTube. So I go and I check them out on like TikTok, which one of the people I love to watch, her name is Liza Koshy. She is so hyper all the time, which reminds me of myself. And she actually got famous on Vine. So that was like 6-second clips, and she would just do some crazy things. And it's like people nowadays think they have to be so crazy to get people's attention. And it's like we just keep going more. I feel like we keep heightening and heightening and heightening. And at what point, like, do we have to stop?
Yeah, I honestly feel like we have a 15-second window with whatever content we put out there, whether that be audio, whether that be video, to get people's attention and keep it. Because even TikTok now is like 15 seconds. If you don't draw me in, I'm like, okay, I'm out of here, or I'm trying to find something else.
Yeah.
Like,
And
because even, God,
you go ahead.
even with the window that we do have, it's like, oh, we can draw them and tell a 10-15 minute story. But if people aren't drawn in within that first 15-20 seconds and they know exactly what's going on, I'm not going to stick around, or I'm just going to be like, do I have to stay here, or can I just click?
Right.
And you don't want to pressure people into staying. So for those that may think we've gotten crazy over the last like 7 weeks, I apologize. Kaehla apologizes. Those who don't think we've gotten crazy and enjoy like our brand of comedy and entertainment, thank you.
I don't apologize at all, people. But I actually have noticed that I mean, I'm wearing a bucket hat right now with the sunshine on it. So
And yet you are in the Big Apple, and yet you're still repping the OC.
actually this is actually from a diner in the Hamptons, which
Oh
is
wow,
it's not open right now, but yeah,
obviously, for obvious reasons.
check it. Um so anyway though, it's like we we were talking about swiping through if we don't get if the video doesn't grab our attention within 15 seconds, we're past it. We're on to something else. And I wonder for me why we can't stick with even videos that we do like. It's like I'll watch something and I really like it. Once I get the point, I'm like on to the next one. Like, yeah, I could see where this is going. And it's like we just literally keep trying to find something new and something better. Swipe, something better. Swipe, that was boring. Something better. Oh, this one's cool. Maybe I click on their profile. Maybe I want to see if they're consistently this good. Oh, they're not, on to the next one. It's like we're out of control as people.
I completely agree. And
And
for
maybe
me in the
but
for me in the film realm, I think of one valid principle, and it's still true to this day. If you strip away, when you're editing or working on a video or a project, period, strip away the audio and strip away all text, whether that be captioning or in the video itself, if you strip all that away, can people still follow and maintain the narrative and understand what the heck is going on? If the answer is no, then you failed to tell the story.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of, okay, so I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I have something that has to do with that. So
All right.
anyway, well, what I wanted to talk about was while I've been on this YouTube train, I have remembered funny moments that were just short and impactful. And I just need to talk about Shia LaBeouf for 30 seconds.
Oh, God.
I definitely went back and watched the video of his I don't know what you can call it, his musical, the Lurking in the Shadows with Shia LaBeouf. I had to watch
Yes.
it again, and then I had to watch the Just Do It. I had to watch those because those are things that people remember and keep going back to. And then I was like, what's Shia LaBeouf up to now? Well, my boyfriend showed me a video of him doing kind of an interpretive dance, which was a powerful story, and his partner was the one that really had the dance skills. But at the same time, I could see where they lose people. I watched the whole thing. I could see where they lose people because the narrative was a little hard to follow, and they used a Sia song that, like, the dance kind of correlated with it, and then at sometimes I was like, I see where they could, like, lose people here. But it
Was
was
it
like,
anything other than Chandelier?
yeah, it was. It was da, 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 da. I don't know the tune anymore. I forgot what it's called. Anyway, whatever. Not important.
Yeah, because honestly, and you brought up Shia LaBeouf, which is a very valid point. Do people even still remember Louis Stevens? But everybody remembers, do it, just
Yeah.
do it. Audio listeners, I am sorry.
I mean, as complete millennials here, we better remember even Stevens because that was signature of the 2000s.
I feel like people are going to remember what Ren did after Even Stevens more than what they did remember Shia for with the Disney Channel and what he did after Even Stevens, which is a doggone shame because you have not just Louis Stevens, but you also have Holes,
Ooh,
which Holes came from the book.
I love
And to draw people in, and this is what I think we did touch on and wanted to talk about, our movies even get the perfect time frame for a film. And I think about it, that movie alone was about 90 to 105, which is like right at that sweet spot. And
Mm-hmm.
that's 105, so an hour 45 minutes with credits. Once it starts hitting that 2 hour mark, that's when it's like, okay, do I have to still be here? I
Yeah.
gotta go to the bathroom, or I am hungry.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, it's like with these action movies, it's good that we talk about this. With these action movies nowadays, I feel the same way because they're so long and there's a lot going on in them, but it's to the point where like too much is going on that I can't even follow it. They think that adding more characters and more fight scenes will break the box office, and for me personally, I'd rather have a simpler plot that's easier to follow.
And I think the simpler the plot and the more, a little bit more dead space you can get away with people being able to take a quick 4 or 5 minute restroom break in the middle, and they wouldn't miss much other than just like plot furthering, but you're not going to miss too much of the action and have that bit of a break. But you take something as much as In-Game or let's go with Endgame. You go straight from a scene with Gamora basically getting killed by Daddy, or was that, yeah, that was Endgame, to Hawkeye randomly dying, Hawkeye and Black Widow. So it's like that quick shift, and all that happened within the same 5-10 minutes. You're gonna want to see all that to understand, like, why are two side characters just randomly dead?
Right.
And that's not a knock against either of them, because they are prominent features in their respective movies. But in this, it in those movies, Avengers, you're gonna think of Spider-Man more of a high class character, high class but still side. Iron Man, Cap, Thor are like your mains. Thanos, main villain. I almost put Gamora above, like, a lot of them, a main side character. But yeah, like, random people dying, you that still are part of the protagonist. You still want to know how they died, or who the heck is this?
Right. That's exactly what I was thinking of. What is the one before Endgame?
Because I know it was Avenge the Fallen, Endgame, and then I want to say it was Age of Ultron was the second one.
Oh, okay.
So I believe there's 4 Avengers.
I think the one that you're talking about, or the scenes that you're talking about, is the one that I just watched. But again, I can't even follow it.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. Is for me, well, especially because I don't know the whole Marvel universe anyway. But for me, going into it, I just feel like there's just so much going on all the time, and it's not even that there's a problem with that in the movie. It's more of like a problem with myself, because I'm one of those people that, like, can't pay attention long enough, and you just, if you're not constantly asking questions throughout the movie, then you're gonna miss something.
Right. And honestly, if there's a movie with so much action in that short little span, like, I'm gonna want to see what's going on. I want to see the fight scene, because that's gonna be the thing that people are talking about. I want to see, like, the deaths in the movie, because those are going to be the spoilers that I'm going to be hearing about. So to have those kind of spread out rather than just like boom, 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 are the best for the industry. And to keep it within 90 minutes so people aren't like, ooh, I gotta go to the I gotta go potty.
That was me during Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings.
Oh, don't get me
Like
started on
3 hours.
Do not get me started on that entire genre. Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, whew, etc., etc. I cannot do with a series, and this is why I didn't watch Game of Thrones, Tiger King, because it's like you almost have to sit there for like a mini marathon, and before anybody comes at me with wrestling and WrestleMania, yeah, I do not even, like, I make sure that I'm at a watch party, and then I just go during the dead match. There's a reason why there's like matches that people just don't care for, and then I just leave and come back in those 5 minutes. But I still have those like dry spots to where I can leave.
Right.
But when it comes to a movie, you have to have those breaks in there so people don't feel like they're chained to their seat for 3 hours. But when they are, it's like, ooh. And to me, that kind of drags on people's attention spans, because we're really only there and maybe have like 30, 40 minutes at the max.
Yeah. And so that being said,
Let's take it a break real quick.
Hello, everybody. This is Kaehla. And if you're skeptical like me about what you put on your body, I have found skincare for women, men, and baby that's inexpensive and clean. The company is called Pharmacy, and I have a personal link for you to shop with at pharmacyus.com/Kaehla Maurer. That's FARMASIUS.com/KAEHLAMAURER. All right, we're back. And
Hey.
we talked a lot about movies. And let's go into these new media shows now.
Woo.
Because what's been on my mind lately is how IGTV and even YouTube has been putting up shows, even Facebook has been putting up shows. And now there's a new platform called Quibi, which all of the things I've named are centered around shorter entertainment.
You trying to get a sponsor, aren't you? I ain't mad at you, but hey, because I know you brought that up in the past, and the reason, right, because it is a newer platform, and that a lot of stuff, as you said, is going mobile and at the palm of our fingertips. But even then, with active as us 90s and 80s babies are, do we really have the time, or just something at our fingertips to where we can stop and hopefully our device doesn't die so we can just hop right back onto it or listen to it on the go? So a lot of content creators are keeping stuff within that 20, 30 outside of podcasts. Sorry, guys. Because some are going up towards the hours on end. And yeah, it's weird to say, like, the lower and the more concise it is, the better. I'm more likely to watch it because I don't have to sit and listen to somebody for 2-3 hours. And it's just, I don't feel obligated once I start, because I'm the type of person, as my mom brought up, to see something through. But it's like, we need to find what's going on in our lives and just keep it short, concise, and keep it going. Sweet spot for me, I would say, there's a 5-minute episode, which so much can get said in 5 minutes, but some go 10, which is fine, which 10-minute shorts are not uncommon. But the most I've seen per episode, even SpongeBob did it. It's like each segment was like 15, with probably about maybe a 3-4 minute break, hop back on for another 10-minute like short like segment, and then boom,
right, and
reverse the credits.
A full story is run within 10 minutes, and I like that more. I think I naturally am more of a short form, short narrative type of watcher, viewer.
I would say a short form animated cartoon versus a sitcom, because sitcoms plan for like 22, 23, but it's stretched over, and you have to, I'm talking about on basic TV.
I'm saying though, now they're starting to release things, and we're not sponsored by them. I keep forgetting about that. We're not sponsored by them, but I just want to bring this up because it is just so innovative. And these episodes, full episodes, are 8 minutes max. Yeah, it's crazy, but I like it.
Yeah, and I completely agree, and that everything has to be short, and it's just one of those things. And I'm thinking, what type of media do we have out there now, more than just on our fingertips? Like, yes, everything is switching to online streaming platforms, but a lot of shows are going within that 22 to 30-minute mark, with or without ads. And that's the one thing, and why, even though people want more ad-free content or want those ads kind of do break up the show enough to where people can get up, go to the bathroom, go grab a snack, go get some water versus I'm stiff as a board for 45 for 30, 45 or an hour like straight cuz I don't think anybody like attention spans, nervous switches or anxiety because some people are claustrophobic and need to be active or can't be in small spaces. So sitting down watching a monitor for endless ends could like negatively have an impact on them to where their anxiety is through the roof by the time even a TV show's over.
Yeah,
So
that's interesting.
that yeah.
I mean, I'm just talking about it. I'm like moving around in my seat. Like,
Yeah. And for those watching, even though I look like a talking head, which I'm not, it's
you
just
should be
going.
running while you listen to this one, so you feel like you're doing something and you can keep us going. But
Oh yeah, I want to, but it's just life, man. You have to like right now, and I know a lot of content creators are doing this, is doing stuff that are wanting to keep people active or encourage people to be active. And it's not just because of quarantine, it's more so just because that's the nature of life. Like I think the younger and the more generations come in, like Gen Z, one of the more active generations we have right now. Millennials, we're the more career and self-produced and I would almost say business owner,
I was gonna
independent business owner generation driven.
lazy but resourceful. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, lazy but resourceful. But also, I've seen more independent business owners and small business owners in their 20s and 30s.
Mm-hmm.
No, let me rephrase that. 30s and 40s. That would be the age range we're looking at right now. That's insane. And I love it because it does show like everything right there is more, we're willing to do it. But as time goes on, yes, they're willing to do it, but it almost seems like do it to where someone else is giving them the foot, someone else is giving them the idea and then piggybacking off it rather than somebody finding their own avenue, their own way, and just making it their own.
Right. Yeah. So I want to talk about how even our ads are becoming shorter. Like they're realizing that people are going more towards shorter shows, shorter forms of entertainment. And like Snapchat, for instance, you can look at news stories and stuff or watch videos, and then you're cut off, and then there's a 5-second ad, and then you watch, and then you're cut off, and there's a 5-second ad, and then it's like it all kind of adds up to a 15-second ad or a 30-second ad. But they found out that, well, if the entertainment's getting shorter, we're going to make the ads shorter.
And I noticed this on YouTube and a lot of games on my iPhone. And this is weird because you still get the skip ad, but you get it after a lot of ads. If they don't play the full 15 seconds, they will skip you after you can skip it after a good 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they're even realizing if we're not going to draw them in, like, hey, skip, and that's fine.
Yeah, let's just like have our Bejeweled type of game on here, and they're going to skip after 5 seconds, but we're just going to keep pumping out that ad, and they're going to remember seeing us. And oops, they accidentally click on us this time.
Yep. Or they tailor the ads toward what's on your phone, which let's not get into that because I don't want to think of
That's a whole other episode, but they do that. And
that's a whole nother brand of just like conspiracies, which I don't plan on getting into.
Right. But it's just interesting where we go back to episode 1 and why we started this, or maybe it was episode 2. But we were talking about the entertainment industry and all these new forms of media and streaming services, and it's it's something that we discovered over time that our society really is changing when it comes to entertainment and what people gravitate towards, because this we started this almost 2 months ago at the beginning of quarantine, and I remember very distinctly how we were questioning how our lives would change and how entertainment industry would change over the course of the year.
2021, baby.
And it seems like it's already morphing, because the reality of it is we weren't aware of what was going on so much in March, and now it's May, almost, I mean, it's like halfway through May, and we're realizing the differences in media.
Yeah, I've seen so many different empty arena shows, and I was just on the DAZN YouTube channel this morning, and they were discussing the quote unquote moderate success of what the UFC did over the weekend, and which is in the same realm, even though WWE and other wrestling companies have been doing empty arena shows since really the quarantine kind of kicked into high gear. But when it came to the UFC and why it got brought up on the zone was when it came to boxing, when it came to the NBA, when it came to the NFL, whether it's not to how to go about having these events with no crowds, can they be a success, and how to even portray them? Because if you wait to even do it until we get the all clear by the CDC and the federal government, like right now we're looking at August before the stay home orders are lifted. So you're looking at September, October before stuff would even be like relatively like open or back to normal on a traditional scale. But that's without a public clearance and uh, essential workers before, like, because all that, and I've talked with Raina about this, because with me working at Fusion Movement, we still like had this discussion I think a few days ago. We would be well after stage 4 and the stay home orders lifted, because sports do fall under that category of having those mass crowds or high volume of occupancy at any given moment, and sweat, physical contact, and possible EMS having to be involved. So, do I think if, unless it's essential workers are involved, should we wait until all this is blown over? No, because then you're going to lose out on so much more, rather than like trying to adjust, have no crowds, present it, and just reshoot your production to factor like, hey, yes, we have no crowds, but we're not going to have this entire massive arena, entire massive field, nobody in there. But okay, I'm gonna see like this ant in the center, this light in the center, and find people. No, I'm gonna, and this is one film trick of just focusing a little bit more, going a few more tighter shots and views of just focusing on the actual action in the ring, in the cage, on the court, on the field, rather than like getting those reaction shots from the fans in attendance, because that's not going to happen for a long time, unfortunately, because you're not going to put a few few thousand, possibly million people at risk over a sporting event or a dance event. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen that easy. And if you want to wait till 2021, you're going to lose out on possibly 2 seasons and a lot of ad revenue. So it's either adjust to the life we have now.
The norm, air quote.
Exactly. Adjust to the life we have now. Even Kayla and I are adjusting because I lost my a 5-year-old power adapter finally shredded on me. I'm recording this and shooting this on my iPad and having to adjust. But hey, do what we got, and learning to adjust is what we are known to do, and evolving is what we all have to do with the scenario and the short attention spans and with multitasking rather than just staying in one lane for our lives, especially in 2020 in the closet.
Yeah. It's crazy. That's my take. It's just
Sorry for the soapbox.
we either adjust or we are stuck in some kind of world that doesn't exist anymore. And I find it interesting kind of reflecting on myself, because going back to the whole multitasking thing, like we talked about attention spans a lot, but we didn't really touch on the multitasking part. And what we mean by the multitasking, why we wanted to bring that in, is because our attention spans are so short that we feel like we have to do all these things at once. But I think what that's really doing is stopping us from focusing. And in our minds, we think, oh, we're really great at juggling all these things. But really, we can't keep our attention on one thing for too long. And when I'm watching TV, even if I'm really into a movie that is, hours long, I'm on my phone too, and I'm still swiping. It goes back to that swiping thing. Like, I'm still looking at feeds. I'm still even watching videos. And I tune out the thing on the TV for a little bit, and I look at what's in front of me, and then I go, "Oh yeah, I'm watching this." And I go back to that. Or it's kind of like when you're doing something and like listening to music. Sometimes the music can play in the background of whatever you're doing, but you're not really like paying attention to it when that happens.
I do think a little bit differently than you do on that. And this goes to time in school when you're in class and you're trying to pay attention, but you see everybody else like off in the distance, or just like getting in there, you say nothing. And yes, I'm kind of not paying attention. And then I just out of it just randomly, or paying attention to what the instructor's saying and still taking notes from the class, or I'm being active in the class. So there's ways to where even when we're going to school, like, yeah, we multitask, but we're also keeping multiple parts of our mind active rather than just like, okay, I'm going to sit here, listen to you talk for an hour, hour and a half. Okay, teach me.
Right. Yeah, we feel like we can tune in, tune out, and still get something out of it. But are we really getting the full thing out of it? I'm kind of bringing up something that my parents or, older figures ask me or ask us as we're growing up, is like, are you really getting something out of it if you're not paying full attention? And now I'm at a point in my life where I'm seeing where this comes into play.
I get it. asked every time, "Are you taking notes?" Like, if you would be a better student if you were taking notes, if you were recording a session and paying attention. And yes, I do suffer from autism, so I do try and I don't focus on taking the notes. I'll record a session or have someone else ask questions, engage in the class, and that's how I pay attention and retain it. But I know that's not the same for everybody. Is just re- saving the recording or taking the notes to an opposite source, and I am sorry about that for everybody. But yeah, phone falling and taking notes, paying attention to everything else, and doing what needs to get done versus like, oh, I'm going to try and take my notes, be active. Like, I'm not going to be active and attentive in the class if I'm taking notes, but I can be active in the class and try and retain stuff and not have it recorded or not do anything and basically forget everything you just told me. And probably this premiered at 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
By 7, I've done forgot the entire podcast if I didn't take notes.
Right. Same.
Whew, yeah, which
Literally, you're talking about like attention spans and paying attention, and I'm not even kidding. For people watching the video, they're gonna be wondering what faces I was making 10 minutes ago. But a squirrel came by on the deck in the
oh
bathtub,
god.
and I'm not even kidding. I just looked over because I was like, "What is that?" right next to me, and it was a squirrel. And then I was like, "Oh my god, this is too perfect," and also reinforces what I was saying right before you started talking. Like,
Yeah.
ah,
Right before my soapbox, you found into a chipmunk out in the
no,
chipmunks. A
during
squirrel.
even worse during your soapbox. But
Oh god.
also, but also, I was still able to pay attention to you talking about being in the classroom and taking notes and all that. So,
Yeah. Which is crazy. And honestly, this has been, and for the time being, I'd love to revisit this at some point, Kayla. And I really do appreciate everything you do. And I got to thank everybody for tuning in on YouTube, on Spotify, on Google Podcasts, everywhere, just for tuning in, listening to both of us ramble in a different setup. And man, if you have not done so yet, hit that subscribe button, punch that bell on YouTube, hit that follow button on Spotify, follow us on Google Podcasts, follow us on Anchor, and oh my gosh, till then and next week, next week, overcoming anxiety. What's going on there?
ooh,
Stay tuned. And anything else from you, Kayla?
honestly, no. I definitely enjoyed this, and just just follow us and comment. Let us know what you like, because we are so passionate about this and we love the feedback that we're getting, and we just want to keep it going. So just let us know you're here. Quick hello, let's be friends, and we'll see you next time.
I think that's enough said. So, TTFN. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.